Hi, welcome back, everybody. We are going to continue talking about what we were working on last time. So, we're still talking about how are animals different. I'm going to hide that right there. So, we're talking about what makes each animal special. So, take a minute, look at this screen, see if you recognize any of the animals or what their names are. I'll move myself over a little bit. We have a snake over here. We have a shark. Think about it. Why is each of these animals special? What is different about them? What is the same? Let's see. So, we're also going to still be focusing on some writing today. We're going to review our creature features, so some things that we learned about different kinds of animals. We're going to be learning new vocabulary words, so talking about how animals move, and then we're going to write. So, all right, let's investigate our friend. Everyone knows this friend. I'm actually sitting right next to the real Flash Ninja. He decided to make an appearance for this class. So I want you to think about Flash and some creature features that you notice. If you can't see him in the corner of the screen, then you can see this big picture of another red-eared slider. I don't know if this is Flash's cousin or just a good friend. Who knows? This turtle has some qualities or features that make it special and help it to survive. What are some things that you notice about a turtle that maybe a tiger wouldn't have? What does a turtle have that only a turtle has? Well, one thing that I notice is this thing right here. This is the turtle's shell. If you said shell, that was a great answer. Why does a turtle have a shell? What do you think is the benefit, or why is a shell good or helpful for a turtle? I would say it probably keeps the turtle safe, right? If when Flash gets nervous, you know what he does, right? He goes right in his shell, and then we can't really mess with him. There's something else that Flash has that's really special, and we have something similar on our bodies, but not quite as sharp. What does he have that's sharp? Look right to his feet. Now we have some nails, right? But our nails are a little bit different than what he has. Flash Ninja, or turtles in general, have claws. What are some things that they might use their claws for to help them to survive or stay alive? I know some of you have been there to witness when Flash has eaten a fish. And what does he use the claws for when he's eating the fish? He rips it all up. And that way he gets to eat. So, not quite how we eat. We might use a fork, but he doesn't do that. There's no turtle forks. He has claws, as do a lot of other animals. If you look over here, are there any animals in this example of different parts of an animal that also have claws? Does a flamingo have claws? Not really. They have webbed feet because they live in the water. But an alligator has claws and a tiger has claws, and it also helps them to eat. Many animals have claws, just like Flash. I'm sure there are many other features. If you notice them, that's great. He has a little red on his face. Many people ask me if that's blood. That's not blood. That's just part of what he looks like. It's kind of like if you had a birthmark or something like that. He's a red-eared slider turtle, so it's something that's special about his kind of turtle. So let's continue on. And today we're going to talk about something a little bit different about animals. So now we know how they look different, but they also move different. Now, this is a very important part of the lesson because you need a little bit of space to move around safely. So let's look at the first thing you're going to do. When we go over each one, there's 6 different ways the animals move here. Excuse me. You are going to act out how they move. Do your best. You don't need to record yourself, but you're welcome to if you'd like. Excuse me. All right, the first one. What does a fish do? How does a fish move? Does a fish go for a walk? No. I've never seen a fish go for a walk, maybe in Dr. Seuss. But a real fish, they swim. Fish swim. So show me what it looks like to swim. I know you're not in water. It's too cold for that. But pretend. See if you can swim. You could do this kind of swimming. I don't know. Go ahead and do a little bit of swimming, like a fish. Can you think of any other animals that also swim? Let's move on to the next one. The next movement is fly. This bird can fly. Can you fly? What would you need to fly? What feature helps this bird to fly? If you said wings, you're correct. A bird has wings to help it fly. We don't have wings, but many animals do have wings, the animals that fly. This looks like a seagull to me, but there's other kinds of birds too. There's owls, there's pigeons, there's all kinds of birds, and they all can fly. This polar bear, what is this bear doing? This bear is running. Running is something that you can do, I can do. How is it different when we run versus when the polar bear runs? How do we run differently? How many legs do you have? I only have two, but I'm just speaking for myself. This polar bear has four legs. Who do you think would win in a race? Do you think you would win? Do you think the polar bear would win? I don't know. Guess depends. We've got some speedy people out there. The next one is climb. This monkey is climbing. Many animals climb, and this is a way that they move, but it's also a way that they can survive. So if an animal can climb, they might be able to run away from a predator. Monkeys just like to climb. That's where they hang out in trees. They live up there. They might eat up there, but they can climb. What other animals can climb? Now, this is one of my favorites. You got to get on your belly for this one because this is slide. What animal do you see sliding here? It's a penguin. Penguins slide because they usually live on ice. It's a little harder to slide around on your belly. It's kind of like you're cleaning your floor. But this penguin slides on the ice to get places quickly. Then, if they were to walk, it would kind of be too much of a waddle. They'd go slow. So when they really got to speed along, they slide. Many other animals slide too. And think about it. What other animals might slide that live on ice? Something to think about. And the last movement, slither. What can you think of that slithers? Slithering can be kind of fast, it can be kind of slow, but this is a snake. Snakes slither because they do not have legs. They have no legs. So they use the muscles in their body to slither. That's how they get from one place to another. I hope that you did a nice job slithering. It's not easy. It's kind of a workout. I prefer to use my legs when I walk. So all of these animals are different. And there's many other animals that slither, that fly, that climb, that swim, that run, that slide. But I want to make sure that you know what each of these movements are. Now, here's a challenge question. What's another way that an animal can move? Think of another animal and think, what else can an animal do? I'm thinking of a kangaroo. Does anyone know what a kangaroo is? Because they move in a way that's really, really special, and we usually associate it with kangaroos. Think about it. They like to hop. That's one other way. Think about some other ways that animals might be able to move. All right, so now we're going to write about it. And I also want to say, when you're thinking about how animals move, if you spend any time this week outside, I know it's kind of rainy right now, but I think we're going to have a nice day coming up. If you are able to go outside, or if you are looking out your window, I want you to look at any animal that you see and think about how it's moving. Animals don't move in only one way. It might move in many different ways. If I'm looking at a squirrel, what are the different ways that it's going to move? Think about that. That's part of your homework. All right, so now at the top of our screen, we have a bunch of our words. We have fly, swim, run, climb, slither, and slide. Those are the words we just learned. So if you're not sure what they mean, you got to back it up and think about it again. Here's your challenge. We're going to be writing sentences, and I want you to try and add an extra detail to each sentence, but we'll get back to that later. So, find a piece of paper. It does not have to be lined like this. It can be a blank piece of paper. It can be your journal, whatever you have. Get a piece of paper, a pencil, and an eraser in case you make any mistakes. All right, Put your name at the top. My name is Miss Cotler. Your name is probably something different. I'm going to say it's April 21st. It's not the 21st maybe when you're doing this, but ask your parents if you're not sure what the date is. Say, what is the day today? And then the year is 2020. Whoop, I jumped ahead a step. So our year is 2020, April 21st, 2020. Okay, now here's the first thing you need to do. We're going to be writing about how an animal can move. So on this first line, you're going to write what the animal is. Then you're going to write how they move. So a blank can blank. And notice I started with my capital letter and I ended with my period. Here are our animals to choose from. So let's see what animal we should choose first. First of all, does everyone know what all these animals are? Let's start up here. This is a horse, worm, bear, seal, dolphin, and butterfly. Okay, now let's start with a worm. When you're writing this word, I want you to sound it out. I don't care if you spell it perfectly correct, but I care that you have all the sounds there. So when you're sounding it out, you might say worm. You might write it like that. Is that the correct spelling? No, it's not. The actual way that you spell worm is like that. But if you wrote it the way I wrote it in blue, that's okay. First grade, we want to make sure that you're hearing all the sounds. Challenge yourself to stretch out the word and write all the sounds. Okay? And then you're going to make sure, just like we did in our last thing, we have finger spaces. So we have a space, worm space, can space, and then you need to think about how it moves. Let's see. How does a worm move? Does it fly? Does it swim? Does it run? Does a worm run? Not that I've seen, but hey, who knows? Do they climb, slither, or slide? If you said slither, you were right. A worm can slither. Now these you should be able to spell correctly because they're right here, right? All right, once you have that written down, you can pause right now while you're writing that, and then we'll continue on. Now, I want to say I was so impressed when I saw everybody's writing last time. I thought, you must be working so hard at home because it's some of the neatest writing that I've seen from everyone all year. So you guys got to give yourselves a pat on the back for that. You're doing a really great job. And I thought to myself, well, you know what? They're doing such a great job. I bet they can write an extra sentence. So underneath where you have your first sentence, you can go ahead and add the extra detail. This is that challenge. Is there something else that you can tell me about a worm? So a worm can slither. It lives in the dirt. Go ahead and try and write it. Remember, you always start with a capital letter, you use your finger spaces between words, and you end with a period. Challenge yourself. See what else you can add. All right, let's go on to the next one. We'll get rid of slither because we already used it. And let's look at the next animal. What animal is this? It is a bear. So for number 2, you're going to start with your capital letter and say A. Sound out the word bear. Again, sound it out. Do your best. If you don't hear all the sounds, if it's not spelled perfect, that's okay. But this is how you spell the word bear. Can. And how does a bear move? Do they fly? Do they swim? Maybe. Do they run? Can they climb? Do they slide? Well, they can do a few of these things. A bear can definitely swim. A bear can run. But what is the bear doing in this picture? It's on a tree. So the bear is doing what? The bear is climbing. So go ahead and finish your sentence. A bear can climb. Make sure you end with a period. And then challenge yourself. What else do you know about a bear? What does a bear have on its body? What does a bear eat? Where does a bear live? add a little extra information. Because you guys have been doing so great with this, I know you can take it a step further. Feel free to pause, but I'm going to continue on. Okay, the rest you're going to do by yourself. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, so 4 more pictures. You have the seal, the dolphin, the butterfly, and the horse. Tell me what each of them is doing in their picture. Remember, you can always add an extra detail afterward. Just because I left only one line, take your time, use up space, challenge yourself, work on your writing a little bit, and I look forward to seeing what you have. So, next time we are together, we're going to be doing a little bit of reading. So, the next thing that we're reading, and this is just a reminder to add your extra detail. And here we go. This is the story that we're going to read. It's a great story. It's called Slither, Slide, Hop, and Run. So, for our next lesson, when I put it up next week, we'll get to read through this nonfiction story and we'll get to look at how many other animals move. We'll go beyond some of the movements we just talked about and think about a few more. And I bet you'll have already thought of some of them by then. So, again, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for doing your work. It's so wonderful to see your faces and all the hard work you're doing on Seesaw. Be healthy, be well, and, we'll see you next week. All right. Bye. Bye, Flash. See ya.